Hello and welcome to Cornish Walking Trails. Today we're going to take a look at Helston. In today's video, I return to school. We look for the stone from hell.
But it could be that one up there. We'll never know.
And Andrew tries Spingo.
Riotous and drunken, bad specimens of Cornish people. Welcome to Helston.
Helston is situated in the northern part of the Lizard Peninsula and is in fact the most southerly town in England. As you know, we love our old books and we have a selection with us today. We also have a copy of Helston Heritage Trail to refer to. That hedge. Hello everybody. So we're in Helston today, and in one of our old books, Wilkie Collins' Rambles Beyond Railway, that was written in 1851, he also visited Helston on a rainy day, and this is what he said. We waited throughout one long rainy day at Helston, remote, unfriendly, melancholy, slow, for a chance of finer weather before we started to explore elsewhere. But our patience availed us little. The next morning there was a soft, thick, misty Cornish rain still falling, just as it had already fallen without cessation for 24 hours. And the reason I'm reading that out is that's how we feel at the moment. It just seems to keep raining. He's not very flattering about Helston. He goes on to say that the town of Helston, its principal recommendation in the opinion of the inhabitants, appeared to be that if the residents of several very genteel families, who have certainly not communicated much their gentility to the lower orders of the population, a riotous and drunken set, the only bad specimens of Cornish people that I have met in Cornwall. So he isn't very happy with the people of Helston compared with some of the other people in Cornwall. He's really not very nice. This is not the first time we've read something in Wilkie Collins' book. It's been quite rude, is it?
He seems quite a rude man, doesn't he?
Yes, he really puts it down there, doesn't he?
He said the same of people from Liscard as well. Obviously the people in Helston were worse.
Riotous and drunken.
Well, I have heard stories back in that period. You had miners that would come into Helston, and some of the miners were from different parts of the the area around
the
Helston.
locality. Yeah.
Some would drink in one street.
Oh, okay.
And some would drink in another street.
Monique Street versus Cornish Hall Street.
Yes, and usually at the end of the evening, after they'd had many a pint, they would converge and have a mass brawl in the town.
Well,
so
it was at the right time, wouldn't it? Because that would have been the height of the mining era.
Yeah, I don't know if that still goes on though.
There's
quite a few pubs in Helston though, isn't there?
Well, there always used to be. We're going to go up through the town and take a look. But first, I think we're going to grab some lunch here near the boating lake.
Good idea.
This is Helston Boating Lake. It was opened in 1912 for the coronation of King George V. Thank you so much to everybody that's donated a coffee recently. And as usual, we'll run your names up here. We are very grateful for your help. It's a chips with everything cafe. Brilliant lunch in the lakeside cafe down here. This is like the main recreational centre in Helston. You've got the boating lake, and in the summer they have pedalos, don't they? You can hire cycles to go down to Portslevin, go around Low Bar.
You've got swings.
Yeah, and you've got play park for the kids. And there is a parking here that you've got to pay for right on the doorstep, but there is free.
I was going to say, where we've parked today, a little bit further down, at the end of the boating lake, I see Fairfield or Fairground car park.
Yeah.
It's called. Free parking.
It's a bit rough,
Brilliant.
but it's perfect. So it's April, just after Easter, 2024. You wouldn't think so, looking at the sky. But we're going to head up to the top of town and take you on a little explore of Helston, share some interesting facts and some reasons why you might want to come and visit. Helston was granted a royal charter in 1201 and was formerly a stannery town to the mining industry. How Helston gets its name is a battle between St Michael and the devil, and they were tossing a great big stone from hell around, and it's meant to have landed in the middle of Helston or Helston as part of the Angel Hotel, which we will try to find later. You can watch the story of St Michael played out alongside other myths and legends during the Hallen Toe Dance on Flora Day. We're outside the Guildhall now, famous for the start of the Flora Day furry dance. This building has been around quite a while. It's also #1 on the Heritage Trail put together by the Town Council. Several of these plaques, we won't do it all today, we'll just take out some of the more interesting points. This is #1. The lily of the valley on this plaque is the symbol of Helston, and it's got a lot to do with Flora Day. Okay, so this tells us about Flora Day, always on the 8th of May like we said a moment ago, and it is meant to drive out darkness of winter and introduce spring. So the town is decorated with bluebells and lily of the valley, and it looks fantastic. It starts at 7 o'clock in the morning with what was traditionally the servants' dance, and they wind their way through houses and shops and dance throughout town. Midday was traditionally the gentlemen's and ladies' dance, and they came out in all their finery, and it still is the dance of the day.
That sounds lovely. I'm sure Wilkie Collins was impressed.
Well, you can read that bit outside, aren't you? I know. Before we get back to Wilkie Collins, let's just take a quick look around the museum. The museum is housed in the butter and meat market for the town, and I think my favourite bit is at the top. So this museum tries to capture how life was in Cornwall back in the day, and that's what it tries to exhibit, and I think this for me brings back so much nostalgia. They call it a Victorian classroom, but I remember these desks. I used to sit at one of these desks with the inkwell and the lifting flap, and I used to like it all neat and tidy. Put my fountain pen in the ridge there. So how many of you honestly sat at one of these desks? The only thing about this museum is it says it's a Victorian classroom, and I'm really not that old. So with these little lead ties, they used to take the sections of glass with them when they moved house.
Gosh, I never knew that.
Just undo your windows and take them with you. Bob Fitzsimmons, a boxer.
Yeah, he really interesting guy. So he was born in Helston, that's the claim to fame, and he actually held the World Boxing Champions at 3 different weight levels.
World middleweight, world heavyweight and world lightweight champion. Aren't they all separated by your body weight?
Yeah, so he went up and down the weights basically.
Wow.
It's really unusual.
Yeah.
But he, as a born in Helston, but at an early age he emigrated. I think it ended up in New Zealand and Australia, and he was eventually fighting in America.
Touring through America?
Yeah, touring through America.
Didn't he have a pet lion?
He did, called Nero.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. But an interesting thing is, one of the fights that he lost, which was a World Championship fight, he lost it, it was quite contentious. The chap he was fighting was awarded the match, but the referee in the match was a chap called Wyatt Earp. Have you heard of him?
No.
Have you heard of a gunfight at the OK Corral?
Yeah.
He was one of the marshals in that. But apparently he was quite crooked and he threw the fight.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, so he cheated Bob Fitzsimmons out of... Oh my goodness, no. I remember too many sessions in the Fitz, which was the pub just down the street, near the Blue Anchor, I believe, where it was quite rowdy on a Friday night.
Any punch-ups?
So
that was named after the boxer then?
Yeah, the Fitz. We used to refer to it as the Fitz, Bob Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
And the actual name was Fitzsimmons Arms, I think.
I'm not sure if it's still there or it got renamed.
Yeah, possibly. We'll have a look later.
Okay.
The museum is fascinating. As you can hear by the background noise, there's kids in here having a great time looking at all the exhibits. They've got toys, they've got kitchens, they've got classrooms. I think I must just show you the Victorian kitchen. It's so cute. So there's the kitchen, the old Cornish range. My nanny was always moaning about having to blacklead the Cornish range. Anyway, let's crack on.
So Wilkie Collins, writing in 1850, said, "In short, the town has nothing to offer to attract a stranger but a public festival, a sort of barbarous carnival held there annually on the 8th of May. This festival is said to be of very ancient origin and is called the Furry, or Furry, an old Cornish word signifying a gathering, and at Helston particularly a gathering in celebration of the return of spring. The ferry begins early in the morning with singing to an accompaniment of drums and kettles. All the people in the town immediately leave off work and scamper into the country, having reached which they scamper back again garlanded with leaves and flowers and caper about hand in hand through the streets and in and out of all the houses without let or hindrance. Even the genteel residents' families allow themselves to be infected with a general madness and wind up the days capering consistently enough by a night's capering at a grand ball." There we go. General madness.
So Wilkie Collins wasn't impressed by the barbarous festival. Funny, isn't it? Because the town is so proud of it these days, and it is the event of the year in Helston.
Yeah, I mean, I used to come as a kid. I used to come pretty much every year, and the town. If you find yourself in Helston at the beginning of May, it's well worth coming along just to savour the atmosphere, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Also,
fabulous event.
At one point, just to let you in on a little secret, Andrew used to work in Helston.
I did.
You didn't like working on that day, did you?
Never park anywhere.
But you got a fabulous view out of the upstairs window.
Yeah,
down on the midday dance.
They used to shut. They used to shut for about 2 or 3 hours whilst the dances were going on, and basically you could watch. And it was a great times. Yeah. What you found?
Well, in this leaflet, there's an old photograph of this street.
Oh yeah.
And it shows the new inn.
Right.
And if I just take it over there, I think you can tell that entrance there is just beyond the lamppost in the building.
So it's not an inn anymore by the looks of it, is it?
No. So this is the interesting story about this place. It says that although it's a quiet place now, in 1548 the King's Commissioner William Body met his end close by here by the hands of an angry mob. Body had been sent to oversee the dissolution of the monasteries and had stripped the church at St Kevin and its Catholic artefacts. When he arrived in Helston, he was met by a baying crowd who dragged him into the street and stabbed him to death. The mob then rioted and Helston was a no-go zone for days, until the magistrates, led by Sir William Godolphin, rounded up the ringleaders, including the St Kevin priest, and they were taken to Tyburn, hung, drawn and quartered. So that was at the time that England was splitting from the Catholic Church under Henry VIII, and there was people sent around to take out the Catholic artefacts from churches. Well, in Helston they were having none of it. They were not going to make their way up to that church and take everything out, so they actually killed the commissioner. Rowdy lot, aren't they?
Yeah, wow.
It is kind of building a story of quite a riotous, mob-like, unruly, barbarous type in Helston, isn't it?
So was it here that he was murdered then?
Well, it seems to imply that, doesn't it?
Very wide opening, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like an oak, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
No, look, this would have been the back of the pub.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Gosh. It would have been a huge pub, wouldn't it? Wow.
No, that chap that was killed, Body, he was called Body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they have to collect any evidence?
A body of evidence?
Do you think they had a body of evidence?
Very good.
Yeah.
wealthy town at one point. It's such a long way to London from here that the gentry used to come and have their own kind of little mini season in Helston, and to that end they built lots of grand houses, some of which are down Cross Street.
I've been finding these buildings very interesting. There's all sorts of different designs, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all unique, but they're all so beautifully, precisely cut in stone or granite. Very wealthy looking buildings.
They are, aren't they? So I've become distracted by a number of things.
Yes.
First of all, there's a great big cross here beside you, or stone.
Well, it's not as big as some we've seen.
No.
However, in our leaflet it does say outside number 1 Cross Street is a cross after which the street is named.
Ah.
The ancient monuments listing describes it as a preaching cross, probably pre-conquest, wheel-based granite monolith with it goes on. It's believed this cross dates back to the earliest part of Christianity in Cornwall and may even reflect echoes of a previous religion.
Oh wow.
So this is why Cross Street's called Cross Street. It's the old photo in this leaflet. It shows that hedge is just beside me here, so they must have been back here taking that photo looking towards you.
Well, I'll let you do that whilst I go and film an impressive knocker.
Okay. Yeah, so there's the ladies. They look like they're maybe Edwardian with those big hats and quite lovely outfits, and it's probably this hedge. And Andrew is stood where one of those spectators would have been.
It's a lion, which is actually quite apt because we're going to talk about something later on concerning probably a lion.
Yeah.
But it's lost its knock a bit, but it's still impressive.
Well, that's probably because the house is no longer a house, it's flat, so nobody would answer anyway, would
That's
they?
true.
But yeah, it's a mighty impressive building. So Cross Street used to be the main thoroughfare for the gentry to kind of have a society in.
Well, it still feels quite posh, doesn't it?
Yes.
Each of the buildings is different.
Yeah.
They're all beautiful as
They
well,
are.
aren't they? I like the fact they've still got the trees and the greenery. It feels quite
Yeah.
nice, doesn't it?
Feels quite posh, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Yeah. So we're going to head back now, not go all the way out to the main street. We're going to get an oak that takes us into the main street, and there's a story. Actually, the back of these fancy properties backs onto the oak.
I hope we can find it.
Loads of clues as to what was going on down here. So there's one over there called the Forge. This is the old stables, and this is the back of those fancy houses and shops on Cross Street, Church Street rather. And then this one tells you what it was for. Merrywell Mews. Presumably at one point there would have been 5 wells in 5 Wells Lane. The leaflet from the Heritage Trail isn't much help, but there's a lot of detail about it in here. In earlier times, the town's residents relied on the wells for their drinking water. Many properties had their own well or plump in the backyard. Others, less fortunate, had to collect water from chutes or pumps. The 5 wells were noted for purity, and a chute was in use there well after the last war. An inscription in the stone reads, Thomas Cock Mayor 1703.
I've spotted something, Sarah, which I think you might have missed.
What's that?
Go and have another look at the well, see if you can see anything. No, it's higher. Higher.
Here.
Yeah.
Ah! This is a crash course on how not to do a video, really, isn't it? But we were actually looking for that inscribed stone. He mentions it here.
Which
and
is,
it says,
I'll just show it. I don't know if it's going to come out on camera very well.
So it actually says Thomas at the top, Thomas. And then, I've never seen this word before, but Cockma Yor 1703.
What was that?
Thomas Cockma Yor 1703.
Oh, so that was his name then?
Possibly.
1703,
It
gosh, that's a
doesn't
long time
explain
ago, isn't it?
It doesn't explain it, but yeah, I didn't expect to
Oh, I can
find
see it now, yeah. Thomas.
Yeah, C-O-C-K.
Yeah.
M and the
Yeah.
cement's gone over the
Yeah.
A. Y-O-R 1703.
Fabulous. What's next on our delightful tour of Helston?
Oh, this is so quirky and so interesting. When I read about this, I just wanted to find it. So it's Wheelbarrow Lane. And it's here. Why do you think it's called Wheelbarrow Lane?
Oh, okay. Right, let's have a look. Can't see a wheelbarrow.
No.
Oh, okay, I got it. I've got it. I can work it out. I have. I think it's something to do with these stones.
Yes.
Which are at an angle, aren't they?
Yes.
So they're not part of a step as such, are they?
So you can put a wheel over this instead of bouncing down the steps.
Oh, well demonstrated. What does the book say then?
It says exactly that.
Oh, okay.
It's named because the granite steps has inserts on the left to allow easy access for wheelbarrows, which are probably going to and from the back entrances of the prestigious properties in cross streets.
Oh, very good. I didn't bring my wheelbarrow today, though.
So you can't test it.
No.
You could cycle up that as well now, couldn't you, if you were good with your aim.
I'm seeing bits of Helston today that I've never ever seen before. I've been coming to Helston for years as well, and as you say, I used to work here, and you know, we spent a lot of time here when I was a kid as well, and I've never been down here.
No, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Should we find out where this goes?
Okay.
So I think this will come out on the main street, close to the Angel Hotel. You might have noticed there's quite a lot of water flowing in Helston, and these troughs down here are called kennels. I don't know what they're called out country, but in Cornwall, the street water is called a kennel. Originally it was designed to take horse muck away from the town, and people would use the water to sweep down the street and what have you. It was used for brewing, even for cleaning out fish and washing your laundry. And they're still running today. It's fed from a leat high up behind Wendron in the River Cober. So here's the kennel still flowing with water. And if you misjudge it with your tyre when you're parking up, complete nightmare to get out. This is the Angel Hotel. It is believed to be the townhouse of the Godolphin family. The original Tudor building was remodelled and it became an inn in the late 1600s. It's been an excise house, a jail, and a major centre for cockfighting until 1849, when that practice was outlawed. This was actually built as the townhouse for the Godolphin family, and they believe it's in the 1500s sometimes, 1540s in fact. And it was their kind of society house for the winter when they came into town. It even has the well in the bar. Myth has it that the Hellstone is at the back of the Angel. So let's go and see if we can find it. Here we go.
Creeping around in a pub.
We're looking for the Hellstone of Helston.
Oh, okay. Gosh, granite floors, aren't they?
So he said the extension.
You've got to go right to the back, I would have said.
In the beer garden.
Yeah.
How big is this property?
It's huge, isn't it? It goes on forever, doesn't it? Out here, maybe? Okay.
The heritage leaflet says that for centuries a large flat stone lay in the rear courtyard of the Angel Hotel. It's said by some that this is the Hellstone from the naming story. Unfortunately, in the late 1700s, the stone was broken up and used as building material in the extension of the hotel. So does that mean that those granite coins around the doors and windows is the Hellstone of Helston? Honestly, I'm not sure.
Is it that one? Or it might be that one. But it could be that one up there. We'll never know. Okay, I think I've worked it out.
What's that?
Well, you know there's a history of riotous and drunkenness here in Helston. So they obviously had a smashing time. They took the main symbol of Helston, smashed it up into small bits and used it in an extension.
So they were either riotous and drunken when they nicked the stone, or they were riotous and drunken when they wrote this. Take your pick. So this building has been many things. It says it's been a temporary jail. It's been an excise office, and it's also been the headquarters in the early 1900s for the new sport of cycling, and the crest of the Cyclist Touring Club can be seen on the exterior, which is what that is. Goodness me, I blinked and there was a drop of sunshine and it's gone again. Just want to see if the Fitz is still down here, but I don't think it is. I think it's for that coffee bean or the next one.
Ah, okay.
We'll just have a look, just out of personal interest.
For time's sake.
Yes. And I think the next interesting thing to look at is the blue anchor, isn't it?
Yes, so at the bottom of town you got the blue anchor, and then you got that Grills monument, which we want to have a look at as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was that one over there that was the Fitz.
That says 7 stars at the top, isn't it?
It's still an inn. I'm pretty sure it was that one. Hazy days.
I think it's going to rain. I've got a plan. Let's do the monument, and then if it starts raining, we're going to the pub.
Okay, what if it doesn't start raining?
We're going to the pub anyway.
So we're right at the bottom of Helston now. This is the Humphrey Millet Grills Monument. Helston's magnificent monument is a symbol of the people's recognition of a man who was respected and revered by all. Humphrey Millet Grills, 1789 to 1834. This man is attributed with saving Wheelville Mine in 1820. And somewhere here it'll tell me how many people attended his funeral. It was something like 2,000, nearly 3,000 people. They lined a route miles long to pay respect to this man when he died, because of the efforts he put in to keeping Wheelville open, which kept 1,200 miners employed in 1820. Wheelville was one of the largest mines in the area. It was known for innovation. It was one of the first, supposedly, to use gunpowder, had one of the earliest forms of man engine, and it had its own smelting works, so it employed a lot of people. So when Humphrey Millet Grills died, it's reported that his funeral procession was 2 miles long, and that 2,386 people gave money to erect this monument to him.
Wow, 2 miles long?
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's because he saved so many jobs in the mining industry.
So he was a hero, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, hero of the common man.
Wow. And this monument is still here. It's impressive, isn't it?
I've always wondered what it's about, really, haven't you? And there's one thing we've got to do, apparently. There's a speaking tour. We've got to go and find it.
Oh, okay.
Keep hunting.
Helston's magnificent Grills monument is a symbol of the people's recognition of a man who was respected and revered by all. Humphrey Millet Grills, standing service to the district in 1820 in particular.
Oh,
by using
that
his
Cornish
influence
accent.
with the banks to keep open.
Sounds like my granddad.
Sounds like my granddad too.
Yeah. You got to do it with your foot like that?
I felt like a hamster creating electricity for myself.
Very good.
This is the 8th of April today. In exactly a month's time, that street is going to be full of dancing, market traders, people having a really good time. And I expect there's some very high up special people sorting out all the organisation. There is another event in May at the end at Whitsun, and this book tells how important that fair used to be. There used to be a company called Bostock and Wombles that brought down a menagerie of lions, giraffes, and even an ape called the Wild Man of Borneo. So this attracted a lot of attention. He was actually roped off. This guy, A.S. he wrote this book. It's his memory of that day. And apparently one of the Helston boys did get in behind the rope. It says, the Wild Man of Borneo was a fearsome looking beast which an attendant fed with raw meat. Despite the warning notice, some young Helston bloods, taking advantage of a temporary absence of the attendant, slipped behind the ropes. They started to poke him cruelly, so that at last, to the amazement of everyone, the Wild Man of Borneo shouted out, "All right, Joe James, I'll mark you and get you out of here." The voice was recognised as that as a local celebrity known as Blue Kidney. What had actually happened is the ape, unfortunately, had died on its way to Cornwall, and the owners had had the skin removed, and they'd paid Blue Kidney Daphne to stand in as the 8. Isn't that just an amazing story? And when he was tormented by the local lad, he was gonna have them.
Brilliant.
So it says of the Blue Anchor that it was once a monk's rest house for pilgrims on the way to St Michael's Mount, and there's reportedly been an alehouse since the 15th century, so it's quite a long time, so that would be the 1400s or something. It says stepping inside you'll find traditional layout with multiple bars and side rooms, and that's how it's been retained. Now it is also famous for brewing Spingo ale, which I think, Andrew, you might want to pick up a bottle.
I would. Do you know, I've never tasted Spingo.
Well, let's
It's
do
supposed
it
to be
now.
quite potent, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
You can drive home. Like going out and filming these. Middle ale. I do a variety. I've gone with the middle ale.
5%.
Smooth, reddish, malty, and lightly hopped. What's nice? Couldn't get that one.
Very restrained, only having a half.
It's quite smooth.
Is it?
Yeah, that's nice.
Get used to that. Are you holding that camera straight?
Oh. Well, that was nice.
Wow. Ghosts and spooks and ghoulies.
It was very nice, and I got 2 to take home.
Oh,
We'll do
you're
this
happy?
as a subscriber giveaway, but I'm not into that sort of thing. Quite
Is it good?
sweet. Yeah, it's quite sweet.
Okay.
Quite hoppy.
Yeah.
It's like a reddish ale, isn't it? It's nice.
I've got video to finish now.
Yeah, shove another one. No, alright.
No.
I don't know what I mean about drunkenness. Bum ba bum ba bum 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 ba ba bum bum ba 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 bum ba bum ba bum 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 ba 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 ba
You can just hear it now, can't you?
bum.
I'm again. I do think it's actually going to come in rain. That black cloud behind us is just going to let go of its load soon. I think we should head home.
Have you had fun today?
I have.
You've taken me to parts of Helston I've not been to before.
Me too.
Yeah, I've even sampled things I've not had before. I'm taking some home as well. So, I mean, is there more to Helston than just Helston, Flora though?
I think there is. Is it worth visiting? Yeah. Have
yeah.
a little wander around, see what you can find. There's some pubs to explore. There's a beautiful boating lake to take a little stroll around, and there's free parking. What more could you want?
Fantastic, we've had a lovely afternoon. So, have you been to Helston before? Do you like Helston? Have you got memories of Helston? Pop it in the comments, let us know. So, until next time, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye.